Namaste and welcome to everyone. I am Shoma Bakre, Vice Chair VIDYA Bangalore. Thank you so much for joining us today for an extremely interesting webinar that we have curated for you. VIDYA Knowledge Series is something we started when the pandemic hit and when we were forced into lockdown. And the idea behind it was that even if everything shuts down, continuous learning must happen. And we must try and do some self-development. While it started off as an idea for internal learning, we opened it up to the world. And today we have the 8th episode of the Vidya Knowledge series in the wellness sphere. And we have very, very interesting conversation lined up with Dr.Ushy Mohan, who is the expert speaker for today, and Shareya Krishna, who will be in conversation with her. A little bit about Vidya before we get started. Vidya has been working for about 35 years in the space of education for the underprivileged. And we have been working in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, and we also have offices in North America. And we have been trying to educate, empower, and transform the lives of the marginalized individuals who live primarily in urban slums across the cities that we work in. We have been doing this work with great pride. And as soon as the pandemic hit, Vidya went into one, a learning mode, and two, into providing relief for our beneficiaries in terms of food, in terms of ration, in terms of sanitary napkins, hygiene products, survival kits. And we also decided that we must do whatever it takes to provide uninterrupted education to our beneficiaries. So with having said that, we are very proud today to have started something called the Vidya Knowledge series, which again, not only includes our beneficiaries, our students, our teachers, our staff, but also the external world, whoever would like to join and learn about a holistic view of life. So today we have Dr. Ushy Mohan, as I said. She is an extremely eloquent speaker. Whoever knows Ushy will know that you cannot help but absolutely submerge yourself in what she has to say. She has a very interesting topic for us today, which again is very relevant, not only for our times, but I think down the ages. The topic is your body listens to your mind. And Ushy is going to take us through, as she says, it's a very deep subject. She will try to take us through as much as she can within the 1 hour that we have for this particular webinar. A little bit about Dr. Ushy Mohan. She is a renowned doctor. She's a trainer. She's a researcher. She's an entrepreneur. She's an inventor of a very potential wellness tool called the Alpha FM meditation. She is also the head of an organization called Doctors Against Corruption. She is the regional head of the International Human Rights Organization for the Southern region. She is a spiritual scientist. She is an ardent academician. She is a neuropsychology researcher, a globally esteemed motivational speaker, a voice coach, a many-time TEDx speaker, and one of the most sought-after meditation, energy, and leadership coaches of our times. We are very grateful that she accepted our invite to come and do this webinar for us. I have to continue and say that she is the founder, CEO, and principal mind coach at the very acclaimed startup called Dr. Ushy's Wisdom Works. She has also established a 360-degree energy wellness network called Plus You Wellness, which organizes monthly meetups in Bangalore, helping citizens become more mind-aware and health-conscious by offering simple solutions to serious maladies. She has the unique ability to distill even the most complex topic to its simple, practical aspects, which she uses to help thousands of people make their lives infinitely better every day. Welcome, Dr. Ushy. We're very excited to have you.
Thanks. Shoma, thank you very much. And Vidya, right in the beginning, thank you very much. And I'm so glad I came in wearing black today. I've already explained why I don't wear red, because I always wear red and go for my sessions, because red is a very energizing, powerful color. And let me start by saying to all the wonderful people who have dared to sit here at this time of the afternoon, it's called the graveyard shift. I'm glad that all of you came by to this room, and I sure hope that we will all together add value to all of you. Now, it was told to me long back that happiness is the way forward. And I always really wondered, how can happiness be a way? And then began the journey of exploration, the journey of having made mistakes, the journey of having fallen flat on my face, you know, to such an extent that probably even getting up should have been impossible. And then as I came along, I realized one very strong statement, which I'd love to start with and share with all of you. And that means that the surest way to unhappiness is to focus on what you don't have. And I think this is what many of us do. And if you really look at your situation today, most of us, including me, in spite of all my mind practices and exercises, we tend to focus on what we don't have. Maybe as a person, maybe in life, maybe in situations. And this is the surest way to unhappiness. This is the surest way to stress. This is the surest way to make you feel miserable in times like this. And guess what? The media really capitalizes on this.
Ushy, if I can stop you there and create some suspense for the audience.
Yeah.
A small pause here. I will introduce Shareya now that you've had the opening lines from Dr. Ushy. Mull about it a little bit. And let me now introduce you the person who is going to be in talks with Ushy today to get all your questions answered. She is Shareya Krishnan. Welcome, Shareya, to the show. We're very proud to say that Shareya is our Vidya ambassador. She too has a mile-long resume, and I will briefly talk about her background a little bit. She is a marketing, communications, and CSR specialist and a corporate grooming consultant. She's on the advisory board of multiple for-profit and non-profit organizations. She's former Mrs. India Universe 2017, and she is into activism, dance, theater, poetry, blogging, modeling, acting, and she is an earth warrior and an event anchor and trainer. So I go breathless when I talk about Ushy and Shareya because they just have too much going on in their lives. They're also two very balanced individuals, and Dr. Ushy is going to talk about some very interesting stuff. She gave you a preview in those few sentences. Shareya has also co-authored a book called Words Matter, the language that girls need to speak. This book is a compilation of 40 words that help the reader to choose their vocabulary in a way that allows them to redefine how human beings are treated. I am now going to get myself out of the way and hand the stage over to Dr. Ushy, who's going to blow us away today. Before I do that, a few house rules. Everybody other than the panelists would please put themselves on mute. Any questions that you have, you would please put them in the Q&A box, and Shareya during the course of the evening will pick them up and get as many questions answered as possible. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Ushy and Shareya. Ushy, all yours.
Sure. Thanks, Shoma, once again. And these are like, you know, like I said, media capitalizes on the fact that we keep cribbing about what we don't have. They keep flashing something extremely negative. And I'm sorry to say it's a majority of them. There is a great minority out there who really does a good job. It's like they start by saying good evening and then tell you 1,000 reasons why it isn't. So, you know, we don't want to make it like that. We want to make it very light. The mind is a very, very heavy topic, and it's also very intense. And it's also something which is extremely mind-boggling. There's a lot of confusion. There is very less clarity out there. People sometimes think meditation is your straight ticket to heaven. It's not. Meditation can make you feel really shitty. Meditation can make you feel really lousy. You might also end up cursing and wanting to kill somebody when you meditate. So these are a lot of myths actually people are really used to. And today I'll take this opportunity to quickly run you through a journey because I am a doctor. And I think that 90% of the problems of my patients are more in the mind than in the body. And we're all in today's generation like pressure cookers. We live in a generation full of information. Most of us are Google graduates. And 90% of us are WhatsApp doctorates. And at the end of the day, we are more bonded to our device than the people around us, with the exception of maybe very few. In today's world, without a human, people might dare to live. But without a device, I've not even seen a small 2 or 3 year old survive without an iPad. In fact, some of the children of my friends I have seen, they just use an iPad and they have their breakfast while they look into the iPad. Food is being shoved into their mouth. And this is the kind of generation in which we live. We have fat people and slim TV screens. People want to become rich overnight. You want health in one day. You want to be slim overnight, and you keep climbing on the weighing machine in the hope that you'll become everything that you wish to in just one day. And this is called instant gratification. And when we live in a world which is bombarded with information, and when we are looking for instant gratification, there are huge gaps, ladies and gentlemen. And when these huge gaps come by inside your brain, where the brain is not able to process everything that you so badly want, then the body starts to respond. When the body starts to respond once, it's okay. When the body starts to respond twice, it's okay. But the third time, the body becomes like the pressure cooker that I've been talking about. When you stop the pressure from releasing in a pressure cooker, we know that the more you keep suppressing it, the more the pressure that builds up in it. So the same thing happens to the human mind and the body. And what happens? The weakest area in your body will give way. And that's why people come back and tell me, I've got headaches, I've got tummy aches, my leg pains, I sleep for 9 hours and I get up fatigued. I'm not feeling good. I feel dizzy. My mouth goes dry. So what is happening? Because of your constant thought process, even when you're sleeping, you're actually thinking. And even when you get up, the moment you even get up, you start thinking. 40 to 50,000 thoughts a day is not a joke. You don't have a thought management system. Obviously, the body is going to respond, not once, but in many ways. And guess what you're doing? You're actually setting off this huge reaction to ensure that your entire body falls out of alignment. And I want all of you to understand this, because the key to health is managing your thought. The key to a great body is not working out only at a gym, but it's also working out in a mind gym. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to one word today, which I think you can take back and do your Google research. It's called neuroplasticity. The brain is capable of growing continuously throughout your life. The brain is capable of making you feel everything that you always wanted to feel. And in this context, I'll just share the screen now, and I'll take you through something that I think will make a little bit sense to all of us once you see what I'm trying to drive home, and then I'll come back to you. Mehla, I hope you're ready for a screen share. Yep, there we go. Great. So there we go. You can actually see this. And this is something I strongly believe in. Many of us are looking for instant gratification. We don't see beyond our nose. So to me, the saying goes, don't sell the sun to buy the candle. Your brain and your mind is perfectly capable of giving you every single thing that you really want in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, it's always very, very important that, yes, just give me a moment. Yes. So we're here to discuss this quickly, that your body, mind you, is listening to every thought that you are processing, either because of an influence or because of the world around you. Like I said, we live in a world full of noise, knowledge, information, and distractions. And in this world, to survive, I think this is perfectly what I was just talking about until now. Somebody asked the other guy, the great Gyani Baba, what is life? And he says, the time that's left after WhatsApp and Facebook. I'm mentioning only two, but a lot of us are on more than 2 devices, including myself, on more than 10 social media platforms. And all our time goes invested in those social media platforms, with due respect. Now, I want all of us in this room to understand that there is a connection between how we think and how we feel. Now, if I take you through a very tragic journey or something that happened to you, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I know how you're going to feel just within 2 seconds. Now, the reason why it bothers me as a doctor is because the body and mind, ladies and gentlemen, are very intimately linked to a set of emotions and symptoms. So what happens when you go to the doctor mostly, when you have a big set of thoughts which are conflicting, confusing, clashing, what happens? Your body gets sick. And you know what? You have vague symptoms. When you go to the doctor and you tell him this is paining, that is paining, you know, I'm getting dry mouth, one day you're getting excess salivation, I'm able to sleep, I'm sleeping too much, I'm not sleeping. You get something called temporary blindness, a lot of muscle pain, joint pain. 90% of all of this lies between your ears. And it bothers me because all your life, sometimes I've seen patients go from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor because everything that's diagnosed is wrong. Every treatment that you seek will not be appropriate, because at the end of the day, the problem lies between your ears and not just in the body. So ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, those with mental health diagnosis, 80% of those who are depressed, 70% of those who are sad, they have always experienced things like putting on weight, not sleeping well, asthma, and it also leads to a lot of heart disease and high blood pressure. Lifestyle issues are one of the main reasons for the body giving up on the mind. And we must understand this very clearly, because no matter what the diet you go on, no matter whatever lifestyle you choose, running 45 kilometers or 25 kilometers and going to the gym every day and looking as if you were probably God's gift to mankind, you still have thoughts that can influence your body. I want you to be very, very careful, because 90% of us in this room, including me, have self-limiting barriers. And you know what separates a happy person from a not so happy person? It's all these barriers. We need to overcome these barriers. What is that? Approval addiction. In today's world, have you ever seen on social media an unhappy picture? We post pictures which are exaggerated, which are there showing extreme happiness, extreme achievement, almost extremes of everything. And guess what? Everyone else is struggling to cope, because they think that maybe somebody is ahead of us. Fear of missing out, fear of conflict. You know, am I not going to be as good as her or as good as him? Comparisons come in, contrasts come in. We are striving towards perfectionism. And I believe that all of these are self-limiting barriers. The first lesson for today is you are what you think. If you want to change from today, you want to be healthier from today, please, for heaven's sake, get in touch with your thoughts. There are many, many ways, but very quickly, let me just share one easy way. Watch out for your thought. You will automatically end up feeling what you need to feel. And when you watch out for your thought and feel what your thought is, you will end up controlling the behavior, which means that you are in control of the choice of action. Now, you can only control the thought and the feeling, but not the action once it's done. So that's why I keep telling people, you are the master until the choice is made. But once the choice is made, the choice becomes the master and you will become a slave. So it's not easy, but it's called linear thinking. Remember the TFA axis. If you think and feel and behave in the same manner, accept if you're sad, accept if you're angry, accept if you're depressed, accept if you're lonely. I believe it's a far better way than faking it. This fake it till you make it, it really doesn't work out. And I think you need to chuck it, because these are all age-old philosophies, not based on science. Now, I'm sure that your thoughts can affect your health. And thereby, I've taken this opportunity which Shoma has given me and Rashmi as well, which I believe that this is one opportunity for me to share with you that 90% of the people who come to me, they tell me this: ma'am, I'm not myself. I wish I could be myself. Sometimes I feel I'm a film produced by my mother and father, directed by my wife, and choreographed by my kids. These are what people say all the time. And when in their private moments, when they are there seated in their private moments, they start becoming whoever they are. Ladies and gentlemen, this saying of it's all in your head, it's 100% true. It's all definitely in your head and in my head. A common misconception is that people fall sick only when the body gets sick. Only there is an injury, there is infection. Believe me, if you're mentally weak, you're very likely to contract even the virus that's going around. So it's extremely important in context to understand that you need to start from today what I call the thought analysis process. Buy yourself a small little journal, or if you're comfortable on your system, just sit there and make notes to these headings that I've given you. Thoughts that up you, thoughts that down you. What are the triggers? Are you more of an inward person or an outward person? And if you just make notes every day for just 2 minutes, at the end of 4 weeks, you will definitely know who you are and what you're thinking. And then you can analyze your thoughts. I will quickly take you through this, because I see patients with anxiety and depression at least about 40 to 50 minimum sometimes a day. And believe me, sometimes in the week, it even crosses about 400-500 people across the world. And let me tell you that all the symptoms that you're experiencing in your head, they add fuel to fire. Guess who we are? Water and chemicals. Which chemical makes you feel sad? Lack of serotonin, lack of dopamine, lack of oxytocin, and lack of endorphins. These chemicals are the culprits which make you feel sick in your head. And you know what? Most of them are produced in the body. So when they're produced in the gut, especially serotonin, it needs to be transported to your head, and there is a stimulating thought that does it. But if you get onto a tangent of feeling sad, feeling bad, focusing on what you don't have, then you stimulate the release of what I call cortisol. So very quickly, I'm just setting the context. Many people in today's world visit doctors with what we call psychosomatic diseases, psychosomatic pains, psychosomatic weight, psychosomatic depression, and almost everything that arises in the mind will control the body and how it functions using chemicals and using hormones. So the organic cause is not primarily in the body, it's primarily in the head, and that triggers the body to malfunction like a pressure cooker that I mentioned so effectively. Now, in today's world of medicine, big amounts of research are being done as to how the brain works. If I can manage my thoughts, I can definitely manage my body, and not the other way. So both ways, the brain and body are connected. Sometimes when your thoughts are really playing havoc, I think you can use your body to start feeling good. As time goes on, I will discuss this with you. I only want to share that the mind is very powerful. Can you imagine that even when somebody prescribes something to you, even when somebody tells you that this is going to make you feel better, unless you believe it, definitely it will not make you feel better. It's called nocebo. And guess what happens? The negative symptoms even can happen to the most powerful medication because you think that it's not going to work. You expect some trouble from the medicine. You read online that things are going to be really horrible. And guess what? Whatever you have, you're going to experience exactly what you think. Like I told you, we are all pressure cookers and we have weaker structures in our body. What is the weakest structure in my body will give way if I'm not able to release what I call the modern day malady of distress. All stress is not bad. There is something called eustress, which all of us need, and it's a protective kind of stress. But when that stress becomes too much, you're not able to handle it, it becomes distress. When it becomes distress, you have bad outcomes. Great thoughts, good outcomes. Lousy thoughts, poor outcome. And this is something that you can remember today. I only want to share one more thing before I switch off. It says the scientists at Stanford University, they've embarked on not a 1 or a 2-year-old, but a 21-year-old project. They examined 61,000 adults, and it was all about exercise. Those who exercise live longer. Those who don't exercise will die quicker. Guess what? Some of them, even though they exercise, were so scared that they were not doing it enough that they died younger. They died quicker. And believe me, I've got the stats to prove all of this. So if you really want it, I can share it with you. But I want you to also understand, why am I quoting this study? Because I think it's very clearly understood that a simple negative thought can be enough to lessen the amount of anything that you may benefit from. It may be a person, it may be action, it may be a situation, it may be life itself. So can you imagine one thought in your head can take away an opportunity that might be at your doorstep. One thought in your head can take away a wonderful person who's waiting to be friends with you. One thought is enough to set your expectation to such a level that probably you'll never be able to meet it, and you keep causing undue stress. You need to understand that the mind and the body are connected very strongly. And if you really want to work on it, you need to start by improving your mood, enhancing the quality of your life, strengthening your coping skills, because all of us will go through downs. You cannot expect a life which is just going to be ups. Encouraging emotional expression. In our country, even men are taught not to cry. Forget women. And women are taken for granted and say, oh, she cries for everything. And guess what? I teach people therapeutic crying. Because when you emotionally cry, the biggest hormone that's released is endorphin and oxytocin. You have something called the neurogenic growth factor. It does a world of good to people, especially the emotional kind of crying and not intentional cries. There are many ways in which we'll do it. In the interest of time, I just want you to remember that emotional expression must be encouraged starting from childhood, and never shout at a child for crying or expressing itself. We start very young and it becomes a habit. It becomes a belief system. We need to really open our minds. We need to relieve these symptoms. And I believe that today I'm here to discuss something called MBSR. It's called the sitting meditation. How long does it take? 5 to 7 minutes a day. It's called focused attention and breath awareness. If you're really interested, when we finish with all of this, I would take you through a 3 to 5 minute session. I think you need to just type in the chat, and I will be informed that you want to really experience something. Body scanning is another very easy way of getting to know your mind and getting to know your thought. Mindful movement and walking meditation is something that we teach a lot of people who are sitting anywhere, so that they can invest 5 to 7 minutes in their life and in their thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, I teach meditation for a living, and I believe I do this because punching people in the face is not allowed. But given a chance, I should have very well done it. So if I really want to sit there and maintain everything to a level of what I believe is civil, I think it's very important to also understand that we need sustained focus. We need sustained capacity to witness. Never deny yourself what's negative. Always watch it and allow it to get out. When you're watching positive, 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 it's not possible. You will have negative thoughts. It's also important for you to understand that that too shall pass. It's also very important for you to understand this is good for me, this is not good for me. Guess what? One man's poison is another woman's perfume, and vice versa. So whatever appeals to you need not appeal to somebody else. So it's important to sit with yourself. It's also very important to find out what your thought and what your feelings are, because unless you're really familiar with both the T and the F, the A becomes haphazard. The A becomes wrong. You commit an error at the level of action because you haven't identified the thought, neither have you identified the feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, please avoid the unnecessary release of cortisol. Cortisol is a killer in large amounts, and it's a savior in small amounts. You will never feel tired. In today's world, people are tired of doing nothing. You're sitting at home and feeling tired. I think we should do something with ourselves. These are times when you can develop so many wonderful things. These are times when your perceived stress can be eliminated. These are times when you can count your breath to such an extent that you start releasing dopamine, endorphin, oxytocin, serotonin, everything that's good for you. So why can't you do it? How much does it cost? 10 minutes of your time. Nothing more than that. So what do? My name is Dr. Ushy. I do all of these jobs, 2-hour weekly sessions. If you're interested, please join me. You're most welcome to just key in. During these times, we don't charge. You can also write to Ushy at Gmail, and I'll send you everything that you need. So with this small little thing, I want to also end by saying, when this line gets straight, everyone loves you. And that's why I keep sharing. I don't know if I've told Shoma, but if I see everyone smiling and everyone so happy, they probably are at my funeral. And until this line becomes straight, a lot of us, the moment Sushant Singh died, we had overnight counselors. When he was alive, there was not a soul, in fact, to go there or speak to him. There are stories woven all around him, but the fact remains that he's dead and gone. Ladies and gentlemen, in a society that has you counting money, pounds, calories, and steps, please be a rebel and count your blessings instead. I count my blessings at the rate of every nanosecond. And believe me, I'm drowning in everything that I have, and I'm really privileged to own. My name is Dr. Ushy Mohan. Thank you so much to Shoma and to Vidya and to everybody. I think it's very, very easy from now on. I think I've set the context enough for you to understand that we are so busy watching out for what is just ahead of us that we never take time to enjoy where we are. My favorite Calvin and Hobbes. I end with this. I will stop the screen share, and I think I will request now Shareya to please come by and join me. All right. I wish I was Mrs. India. Come on.
I think I'm counting my blessings as I speak to you, Ushy, because not every day do you get to chat with somebody who's got the kind of energy, the kind of positivity, and the kind of exuberance that you exude constantly. And over all of the time that I have known you, I think one of the things is your outlook to life, because all that you spoke about is nice and we want to be there. Yeah. But clearly there is somebody around us who's practicing it. Yeah. So my first question, and by the way, a lot of people are interested in the meditation, so I said we will do that towards the end of our conversation.
We will.
Yeah. So my question to you to start with is, how do you do it?
Me? I will.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I do, and I would recommend to everybody, is you just sit on a chair like this, simple plastic chair if you have. Let both your feet touch the ground, right? Uncross your hands, just keep them rested on your thighs. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, better, because you don't get distracted. Close your eyes and just start feeling, breath going in and breath going out. You don't need to watch out for your thought. You don't need to see what is coming in your head. Your mother-in-law may be in your head, or maybe your neighbor may be in your head, and I really wouldn't care about it. All I want you to do is count your air, the breath that is going in and the breath that is going out. And every time the breath goes in, you got to say breath going in, breath going out. And if you really keep doing this, every time your mind wanders, your job is to come back here and then say breath going in, breath going out. When you finish 5 days of doing this, you will understand what I'm talking about, because you'll be fully in connection with the movements of your lungs, your chest, and you will be in what I call linear alignment with your breath. And believe me, sometimes it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. And this is the key to everything that you can start your day with. How long will you do this? 7 minutes if you can. 5 minutes is a good start. But sit straight, both feet touching the ground, hands uncrossed, not heavy clothing, something you're very comfortable with. Sit in there, keep your hands on your thighs, safely rested. You could have had a drink, you could have had chicken biryani. Please don't worry. These thoughts of becoming vegetarian, non-vegetarian, wearing orange, yellow, green, white, and standing under the people tree are all aged and gone. You can sit in your AC room, you can sit in your bathroom. It doesn't make a damn difference because your brain is always with you. And it's got 50,000 thoughts there. 2.5 petabytes between your ears. Your phone has 65 GB and you're in love with it. How come you're not in love with something which is 2.5 petabytes between your ears? I want you to start using that one little GB from today onwards extra, which is 5 minutes a day, breath coming in, breath going out. Breath coming in, breath going out. Noise coming, don't bother. Anybody coming, don't bother. Somebody talking, don't bother. The idea is no matter what's around you, you need to get your point of focus, Shareya. And that's how I do it. And I believe that nothing can take my focus away. And I'm a hyper-focused person. It's dangerous because, you know, that's even like you have heightened awareness. So you can see things 360 degrees. So literally no one can stab me in my back. But guess what? I've actually got stabbed in the back. So it's not good enough. Even 360 degrees is not good enough. And every single day we have the capacity to keep increasing. It's like you're becoming a server from a mere SIM card. It takes a long, long time. But believe me, once you're there, you're so self-sufficient. You're so internalized. You're actually very blissful to a point where sometimes people ask me, are you all right? Don't you ever need anybody in your life? And it's a very strong state. But yes, I just smile and I tell them I have my trees and I have my animals. I think I really don't need anything else. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that connects to the next question, which is a lot of us are very driven by, like you said, media is always playing to your insecurity and it's always telling you aren't good enough. And, you know, there's always going to be somebody better than us. And there's always a comparison of, if you're going to compare with the external world, somebody is always doing better.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with perceived failure? And I say perceived failure because the world thinks that success is a lot more real because that's all they see, like you said. Yeah. That's all they're seeing on social media because everything is about everybody's success and all beautiful things. Yeah. How do you deal with failure? And connecting to that, how do you program your brain or your mind to focus on what is positive?
Okay, Shareya, here I go. We are all work in progress. It's important for us to understand that we can never be perfect. We are WIP. It's called work in progress. And whether you're you or I'm me, I think we're both wonderful people. We have all our goods and we also have our bads. Nobody is going to be great all the time. So I believe that when you understand I'm work in progress, failure will not bother you as much as, you know, if I fail, then probably I become less than who I am. So I believe that resilience is the key for you to accept the entire structure of failure, which means that whenever I'm exposed to a challenge or an obstacle, as the majority calls it, I believe that I have two choices. Come out of that as a changed person, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but never come out of it as a reduced person. And the biggest mistake people make is you come out of any challenge as a reduced person, which means that I feel less, I feel inferior, I feel somebody is better, I feel something has damaged me. Instead of that, you can hold on to it and say, gosh, thank goodness for this. I've become more stronger. I've changed. I'm capable of handling the future. And maybe I will not get things that I really got in the past, but I can definitely find my creative challenges. and I will innovate something so that I can overcome what I thought was an obstacle. I can see it as a challenge, and I can see it as a stepping stone more than a stumbling block. I think that makes a big, big difference. Shareya, when you open the window, one man sees the sky, the other man sees the sand. So it's left to people. It's completely left to individual choices.
Absolutely. I think there's so much merit in thinking of exactly what Ushy said. And I'm going to now switch to a series of questions that have come into us. I have more questions on the chat as well.
Yes.
I want to do justice to all of the questions that we have. So it's a connected question, and it says, how can we train or condition our mind to keep it focused towards our goal, despite unforeseen situations, losses, and uncertainty like the ones that we're experiencing right now in the COVID situation?
Okay, so it's very important to stay now. It's very important not to start looking at everything that happened in Italy yesterday or day before yesterday in France. It's also very important to understand that we don't take any lessons from a future China that we're seeing. It's always important for you to understand that the small little room in which you're sitting, the small little table in front of you, that hot cup of tea or coffee that you can pick up, all the water with which you can have a lavish bath and drink enough for probably a lifetime. And I think the small joys that are accessible are far more important for you to focus on, so that that will fuel you towards your goal. Rather than make yourself large chunks of things that you cannot do and allow yourself maybe, you know, what we call nitrous and want to go to the Mars when you end up becoming a Diwali rocket. That's not possible. So it's all about the fuel with which you're igniting. And I think small things, if you find joy in, you will find plenty of things around you to start focusing. Otherwise, it will be like the man who opened the window and you're looking at the sand, somebody else is looking at the sky. They say things not in your control, please don't worry about. And things in your control, please worry about. I cannot go and cure corona. I cannot capture it. I cannot put it in some prison. I cannot go somewhere and have every herb under the sky, put garlic in my mouth and under my arms to cure myself. You know, I believe that I can heighten my immunity. I believe that I can ensure that I would believe I'm strong enough to counter this. And if at all I get infected, I definitely know the solutions to handle it. And you know what? I think corona also gets a little worried about such people. And I think that's
absolutely.
Yeah. See, doctors who are surviving, they're only surviving because of that. Every single policeman is exposed to it. Why is only 2% of them really getting infected? Because the other 10% are distracted and they don't care. So we really need to get into this too shall pass attitude.
Yeah.
If you're happy, please don't get excited because that will pass. If you're sad, please don't be sad because that too shall pass. So the entire truth of existence is the dynamic nature of your thought. It will pass. It will absolutely pass. Yes.
So there are more questions on the Q&A chat as well. I'll come to that. Virtual meetings feel so impersonal and devoid of human touch, causing depression at times. How can we get over this kind of depression, and how can we compensate for other sensory feelings that are, being missed?
Well, I feel very connected to Shareya. I feel superbly connected to Shoma. I also feel really connected to Mehala, though I've never met her in my life, because my mind is open to connection. Second thing is, please smile. That's about 12 volts in your head. But guess how we are? And we look like probably we need some Isabgol break. And I'm just trying to tell us this because even a simple thing as a smile, people don't do today. You crack a joke, they ask me, what is the meaning of the joke? Now, being a scientist, I have no meanings for jokes. And I'm just trying to tell you that when a monk opened a small gift which a student gave, I believe he opened and he had a big smile on his face, Shareya, because there was nothing in the box. And I believe he said exactly what I'm looking for, nothing. All right. So it all depends on how you're looking at it. I'm sure you're connecting to me. I'm sure you are. There's so many people who write to me and say that, you are so much of energy, because energy is key. Whether you're online or whether you're offline, energy is key. And because of energy, sometimes you'll see the internet dropping. You're far more capable than the Wi-Fi. The truth is that you own something which can actually block the Wi-Fi. And if you use it to its own, yes.
Yeah, it's actually only physical distancing. Social distancing doesn't mean social isolation. Look at all of us. There are about 369 people who are here listening to us. And if this can't be enabled by technology and opening up our minds, then what else can?
Yeah.
The next question is, what is the connection between the body, the mind, and the spirit?
Good question. Good question. Like I said, the spirit is the fuel. The spirit is the fuel that runs the mind. The mind is the brain which has experience. When the brain, which is the macroscopic organ, goes through experiences, it gets conditioned. And something which is full of wisdom, knowledge, and information with experience is your mind. The body is nothing but a tool the mind uses so that it can perceive what it should do. So the body is nothing but a physical extension of the mind. The spirit is nothing but the fuel which is required as the electricity to run the mind, to run the brain. The brain is nothing but fat, water, and electricity. So if you give it enough of these three, then you can be rest assured that your health becomes manageable. I'm not saying you'll never get sick, but I'm just saying that even if you're sick, you will recover very fast. Immunity is not just about eating things. Immunity is also about eating things. And you need to feed your brain. You need to take away things. If people come into your life with drama and trauma, show them the door and ask them to shut up. Never, never, never fertilize drama and trauma. Because if you do it, you're going to suffer the consequences. There was only one earlier, but if you're going to fertilize drama and trauma, there will be two of you suffering later. So don't tell me I didn't warn you. 90% of the problems of the mind are because you said yes when you should have said no.
Learning to say no. Absolutely. So our body disorder is a manifestation of our mindset. You've in some form answered this. Can then the mind help in healing our body? And like you said, the nocebo effect.
Yes. Yes. So 90% of the doctors who have the patients going back to them is because they trust them. And guess what? If I give you a sugar pill, I am a pediatrician. So when kids come to me, I give them a sugar pill. Some of them fake a stomach ache. Some of them fake a headache just because they want to chat and play with me. And I believe that, you know, the same happens with the doctor that cares. Empathy and compassion must be the hallmark of the day. I believe that you need to have, first of all, self-empathy. Many of us are very self-critical. Many of us are very harsh to ourselves. Many of us want to look fairer, want to look darker, want to be fatter, want to be thinner, want to look very pretty. We don't accept ourselves for who we are. We really want to do this. We are not happy with the money. We're not happy with the backlog. You come to office, you think of home. You go home, you think of the office. You don't like your manager. You hate your neighbor. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think none of them matter. It's all the surrounding that you create. It's like going to a perfume shop. Whether you buy perfume or not, you'll smell good. And this is the entire thought process that you need to tweak. You need to modify it. You need to reframe your thoughts. You need to accept what is it that you're facing. Most of us deny. Most of us live in denial. I know people who are living in denial for 10, 20 years. So acceptance is key. Second, self-compassion is key. Third, and very important, zoom out when you have a problem. Please don't attach yourself to the problem, hug it, kiss it, and hold it next to you. The problem here is we hold our problems too close. When you dissociate with it physically, mentally also you dissociate with it. Any person that makes you unhappy, run away from, okay, as far as possible. And if you can't, I'll give you other tricks that you can do. Any thought that really puts you down, thoughts that up you, thoughts that down you. When you make notes, you'll know what's putting you down. You need to start attacking it one by one so that it will be off your list and you'll have only those thoughts that up you. Because the thoughts that down you will keep changing. It's based on people, situation, and things. You need to watch out for the people, situation, and things that down you. And you need to one by one start checking it off. And you need to throw it out of your life, even if it means that it's somebody very close to you, including a parent. It can be a very negative influence on a child. You need to kick them hard where it hurts. And I'll tell you how to do that. I'm not talking physically, I'm talking mentally. Yeah.
That is, you know, but that's right, because the choice is up to you. Because what the world is telling you doesn't mean that's the reality. The reality is what you take from it. Yeah. So connecting to that, there's someone who's asked, how can we stop overthinking and worrying? And a connected question again, how can we stop dwelling on the past and start moving forward?
Yeah. There's nothing called overthinking is a disease. Like I said, 40, 50,000. You can actually associate all your past, all your future and make it 70,000. So it's all about awareness. So when you're very aware and when you're very focused and you're also very conscious about clarity, I believe that all these three will give you the leeway for you to take what you need and allow the other thoughts to pass. It's called embedding a thought. When you become a meditated mind, like you can't meditate as an exercise. I am a meditated mind. I never function as a meditator. My mind is a 24/7 meditated mind. It's like going to the gym. That's why I said it's when you mind gym every day, you have something called the gyri and the sulci. So just like you would develop your bicep and your tricep, you'll have these layers inside your brain that really develop. That means you're running a fiber optic netway instead of a standard netway. So what happens? The work that's happening is much quicker. So you need to have a larger forehead. Sorry to say, but the frontal cortex matters a lot. Most of the people rely on the hind brain. All the smart people, all the happy people, all the successful people, most of us rely on the forebrain. And that's why they say people with enlarged foreheads. There's a joke which I read today on WhatsApp saying that beware of women with large foreheads, okay? Because they will be super intelligent and they can be emotionally also very intelligent. So it just means that if you look at a monkey, you know, it has just a forehead which is this much. So what happens, the capacity to handle emotions, the capacity to be more aware becomes a little less because there's a traffic jam here. Over here, it's actually a 6-lane highway. So just move your thinking process, become more aware, stay focused to what it is, nothing good or bad, be ajudgmental. You need to, you know, just stop judging everything and accept it for what you feel. And at the end of the day, get some clarity as to, is this helping me or is this not helping me? If it's a thought that's downing you, make a list of some things you need to kick out. So thoughts that up you, thoughts that down you. What are the triggers? And very, very important, is something hurting me internally or is something hurting me externally? So you can make your own formula with that. Yes.
Yeah. So the next one is, how can we retain our mental peace despite being influenced by our emotional attachments?
Well, there's a great story here. They said the husband is the head of the family and the wife is the neck. So the neck can control the head, right? So everything in life is all about, I'm bigger than you, I'm greater than you, I'm stronger than you, I'm wealthier than you, I'm more potent than you, my mind is more stronger than yours. In this whole world, you can never stop comparing. It comes by default. And I believe that you need to work on your self-esteem and your self-worth. Build it to such a big height that nobody will be able to bring you down. Forget bring you down. They shouldn't even be able to see you at that level. And whenever you feel like, you can step down and join everybody, which is the choice. So I think it's a choice that you need to make. You need to give up a lot of things in your life. The mind, unfortunately, is a very, very disciplined organ. And if you're ready for good discipline, then I'm the right person to come by, because my nickname is Dr. Kung Fu. It's like martial arts. You got to do it when you feel like doing it. You got to do it doubly when you don't feel like doing it. And that's something where you sit with you sit and explore yourself like you explore the internet. You need to explore your thoughts and strengthen yourself like you would go to a gym by running through certain areas. Like I said, the 5-minute technique, the sitting technique, the anxiety breaking technique. And at the end of the day, of course, the body can be used. One tip, Shareya, for everybody. You can use your body to access your mind. And how would you do that? Keep your 5 senses alive. The 5 are the minimum. There are many, 20, 30, 40. I can go endlessly. But the easiest ones are what you can see, what you can hear, what you can smell, and what you can taste, and what you can touch. See 3 new things every day. Step out of your houses. Hear 3 new sounds every day. Step out of your houses. Smell 2 or 3 beautiful fragrances every day. You can do that inside your house. And at the end of the day, taste 3 new things every day. Maybe salt, maybe chili, maybe pepper. Keep your senses stimulated. And when you keep your senses stimulated, 90% of the time, nobody becomes depressed. You can touch something that you like, velvet, puppy, dog, cat, maybe the partner's hair, anything that you want, your own. So whatever you feel like, please just feel free to use your touch. A lot of us have lost touch with touch. All we touch is the keyboard and the screen. That's not touch. I want you to touch something which is alive. I want you to touch maybe fabric that you like. And all of these things will be the 5 senses. Keep your 5 senses alive and you will see everything that's making you feel lousy just vanish. So that's one way. Yeah.
And what you said, the five senses are also stimulated so much by nature, because that's why I think you access yourself more when you're surrounded by nature. The question that I have next is our mind the byproduct of our genetic inheritance, or is it formed by external social factors, or both? And then what exactly does psychosomatic mean?
Yeah, psychosomatic, first of all, genetics has a role to play. What you eat has a role to play. Whatever you're breathing has definitely a role to play. And at the end of the day, let me just tell you that genetics is a small part. The majority of everything that you are experiencing or feeling is because of environment and conditioning. Okay, it's the same person. A lamb which grows between lions will feel like a lion, and a lion which grows between lambs will feel like a lamb. They feel like a misfit sometimes. But at the end of the day, your social conditioning, your environment, and your genetics play a great, great role. And I would, what was the second half of the question, Shreya?
What does psychosomatic mean?
Yeah, psychosomatic. Any thought in the mind that gives some part of the body to give way is psychosomatic. The origin of the disease lies between your ears. All right. Like, for example, now if I get stressed too often, I will get hypertension. My heart is unnecessarily sprinting the marathon. You need to do the marathon slowly. If my heart is sprinting the marathon, then definitely I will end up being hypertensive. If I'm going to feel, there are emotional eaters. So if I'm going to keep grabbing food every time I'm feeling low, then during this period, you would have gained weight. Because you're not feeling good, the first thing you reach out for is something to eat. Now that is because the gut is the second brain, and you need to look after your gut very well. Your calf is your second heart, and your gut is your second brain. So you need to look after your calf, and you need to look after your gut. These are the secrets to longevity and feeling good. And that's one of the reasons.
There you go.
Yes, yes.
So they say the basic structure of who you are or go on to become is formed within the first 5 to 6 years of our lives. If that is the case, can people really change?
I'd like to see the evidence to that effect. Sadly, I'm a scientist. I don't believe in the sad gurus and the likes of it. I believe that I need to test it on real life human beings. I really don't know from where I came. I really don't have evidence to tell you where we are going. All I know is there's something very powerful out there, and I am a piece of that same powerful thing that helped me manifest myself. And I'm a firm believer that all the energy is within us. I'm a firm believer that you are another me. And I'm a firm believer that all of us have everything within us. And if one can, everyone else can. So for me, I don't see any divisive discrepancies, nothing based on religion, gender, life, etc. All I look at is a head working and a heart beating. Yeah. For me, if I have the head working and the heart beating, I'm more than happy. All the other organs feel in place and they fall in place. Yeah.
So can you differentiate between character, personality, and behavior?
Well, let me just tell you this, that all of the three are very, very attached to each other. There's nothing called a personality in my definition. It's something that you create for yourself. You conveniently hide behind when convenient. And you will say that it's genetics when you find that anything else does not stand a defense. I believe that all of us have a genetic makeup, and we have emotion. We also have a thought process. So I believe that as you're keeping on growing, you're exposed to certain surroundings, you keep changing, because everybody who evolves is very powerful. Everybody who's stagnant becomes very weak. Anything that stays even inside your gut collects infection. That's why we ask you to drink a certain amount of water. So for me, your reputation is what other people give you. Your characters, no matter what you are, you would do what you think is right. They say, learn to speak the truth in the dark and learn to stay humble in the spotlight. And that is character, all right? I don't care how you win the game. Everybody does yay and wow and all that. I really worry about how you lose the game. And it shows me all of you, okay? So I think that what you do in the darkness matters. What you do when no one's watching you matters. You cannot be one person Monday to Friday and be another person on Saturday. That means you're doing gross injustice to yourself. Self-love, self-interest, self-worth, self-esteem, and very, very important, self-compassion. You cannot afford to ignore any one of these selves.
Yeah.
And it's not selfish. It is self-love and self-interest. There's a big difference in that. I love myself and thereby I can give somebody else love. We are all ready to give love when we don't even love ourselves. How on earth is it possible? You can never pour from an empty cup. You need to become an ocean of love out there, and others will come and drown in you. And believe me, you have a ball when others come and drown in you because you have that capacity. I have it. I've been doing it all my life. I will continue to do it. Sometimes it's like a candle. You will burn yourself out a little quicker. But what the heck? You don't keep candles in showcases, right? You need to go out there and do things. That's all.
Absolutely. I'm conscious of time, and I know Shoma said I should hand it back to her at exactly 5, but there are some questions here, and I'm going to do a rapid fire with you. So you'll have to tell me quickly in short spurts answers to these questions. How to relax the mind and have a sound sleep?
Have chai, adrak chai.
The next question, how to build immunity in these times?
Have tulsi chai.
How can we bring uniformity and discipline in our daily life? How does one control their emotions?
Well, I think you should drink Horlicks. I'm sorry, these are very profound questions, Shareya.
I know. Maybe one sentence each. Can you name few other senses other than the 5 that you mentioned?
Well, you have the sense of trust. You have the sense of love. You have the sense of loyalty. You have hundreds of them that you can trigger. Emotion is basically it's another sensation, right? The emotional tangents which come from different parts of the body, they are also extremely, it's a sense. Emotion is a sense. Fear is there. Anger is there. There are thousands of them. Pride is there. Hubris is there. There's tons of them. They all originate in different areas. The physical body is what I'm talking about. So, breath itself has a million expansions. When we do breath, what we call rebirthing. So I teach people maybe about 20 ways of breathing every day. And it all is it's like the recipe, right? You can use rice to make a million things, but the key remains, you should know how to make rice. The same way you understand your basic breath, you can take it to multiple levels. Yeah.
Fake smile or smile only when you genuinely feel?
Both ways it works. Both ways it works. All right, now this is one instance where you can fake it till you make it. Because when you keep doing this, your physical body is sending a signal to the brain and vice versa. So there is release of a certain amount of dopamine. And when there is release of that little amount of dopamine and endorphin, you're bound to feel a little happy. And somebody you don't like, you smile a little longer, they tend to be a little better looking in 2 minutes. So you won't really, be angry, annoyed, or hate somebody. There are some words we need to take off, Shareya. Because words influence your mind. So one of the ways in which you can reach your mind is using words. So what we teach is word substitution using linguistics. So the kind of words that you use is extremely important. If somebody asks you how you are, from today learn to say, wow, I'm fabulous. Don't say, okay, because that's exactly what the brain gives you. Okay, because that's what you're giving it. So tonality matters, word choice matters. And finally, at the end of the day, how you condition yourself 100% matters, right? Increase your awareness is the easiest thing to do. Anything else?
At this point, Shoma, can I take 5 more minutes because there are about 10 more questions. If that's okay, I just want to run through them because a lot of these are audience questions. Is it okay if I can take 5 more minutes?
Sure. Shareya, let's club as many questions as we can and limit it to about 3 because I think a lot of people want to do the meditation. So let's.
All right. Yeah. So we'll do 3 more and then we will switch to meditation.
Thank you.
Ushy, what is linear? Is a question.
Tell me, linear. Linear is a straight line. Linear is a straight line and it's alignment. So it's called congruity in the language of the brain. What I think, feel, and do is the same. I love Shareya. I feel happiness. I express it with a hug. Now, I don't like Shareya, but I'm still smiling and I'm still hugging her. That is not linear. I'm crooked in my thinking. So crooked is the opposite of linear. Linear is straight and crooked is zigzag. So if you're learning to think linear, you will rarely and seldom feel sad because you end up doing exactly what you're thinking. When you keep doing what you're not thinking and you do this 50,000 times a day, you lose touch with who you are. You end up wearing not the corona mask, but regular masks. And only when you're very comfortable and trust people, you take off those masks. So linear is straight line thinking. They're very powerful people. And incongruent thinkers are crooked thinkers. It's not really powerful. It makes you weak. It also makes you sprint the marathon. You'll get all the side effects that I've been speaking about. Diabetes is lifestyle, blood pressure is lifestyle, ulcers are lifestyle, acidity, constipation, acne, every single disease has its origin between your ears.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
So the next three questions are all linked to each other. How do you overcome depression? How do you deal with losing a dear one? And how do you deal with negative thoughts of losing someone who's right now far away from me? Always worried about what's going to happen to that person. So how do you deal with such thoughts?
Well, if you lose a person, you must grieve enough. We are taught not to cry, not to express. I would say thump your chest, cry your lungs out, until you feel the pain moving out of you. The physical body cannot restrain and contain grief. So you need to figure out what are the outlets through which you can release grief. One is create a support group. Second is, like I said, zoom out. Third is share it with the right person. Fourth is start replenishing your diet. Diet makes a big, big difference. What you eat is who you become. What you eat is how you feel. You need to add a couple of beautiful nuts and seeds to your diet. You need to start getting on a low carb diet when you lose someone. You feel much, much better when you reduce the carb, because carb has a tendency to make you a little heavy emotionally. You tend to magnify your feelings a little more. So it is a multi-prong approach and not just one way. You can even have what we call a salt water bath. We use rock salt as a cleanser, and we apply it all over the body and stay for 2 minutes and then pour water right from the vortex of your head. So if you do that, these age-old practices, they actually have significance scientifically. You're actually just realigning your aura. If you like someone, believe me, it's the energy. If you don't like someone, it's the energy. We all carry an energy field around us. It's called an aura. So you need to do an aura cleansing and you'll feel really, really comfortable. And then what was the other one? Depression. Depression is a disease. Clinical depression is a disease. If you're feeling sad, please don't call it depression. Depression is lack of chemicals. Feeling sad is just an emotion which is temporarily downing you. That's it. So you need to seek help as soon as possible, not with the overnight WhatsApp and Google counselors, but a properly qualified, thoroughly experienced counselor. Otherwise, you'll feel even more worse.
Yes. So in the last segment, which is my last segment before we open I just have word associations. I just want you to tell me the first word that comes to your mind when I say the senses.
Pardon me?
The senses.
The senses.
Eyes, no,
sharp.
the senses.
Sharp.
The brain.
Magnificent.
The body.
Sensuous.
Positivity.
Doesn't exist.
Self-love.
100%.
And empathy.
The origin of everything in life.
So with that, we'll open up the meditation session. So Dr. Ushy, thank you so much. There are a lot more questions. We will type in the answers to them post-event and we can send it to the people who ask them.
Yeah. So Miss Shareya, beautiful smile. I can read it here. Okay, great. Now, I think Mehla, are you there? Okay. So to all the people in this room, I will tell you how to do this. You just need to close your eyes when you're listening. Mehla, are you there? Ready? Varun?
Ronak? Are you
yes,
guys ready?
Yes.
Great. So just when you start, I'm just going to play a small track. I want you guys, all of you in this room, okay, and you can take the track actually. It's just something called a cleanser. All you have to do is, like I said, sit comfortably, just close your eyes. If you're distracted, just keep your right hand on your chest and just allow your breath to go up and allow it to go down. All you need to feel is the breath going up and the breath going down. Your chest wall touching your hand and your chest wall touching your hand again, going away from your hand, coming to your hand. All you have to do is keep concentrating on that breath, moving up and moving down. Nothing else. Everything else that you feel, put aside. Okay, don't open your eyes, close your eyes. And when the music is over, just stay still for about another 10 seconds. And then I'll ask you to come back to the room. And maybe you should just type in one word, what you feel after that, right? So it makes sense. Take a deep breath, please, through both your nostrils and release. This is not Baba or Bhabi Ramdev. You can take air through both your nostrils and release it through your nostrils. How's that? So 2 good breaths you take. And I want Mehla or Varun, please, Ronak, whoever it is, just give it a good volume. Close your eyes, and just please passively listen to the music when you're counting your breath. May I have the music, please? Yeah. Single breath as it goes in and moves out. Energized, refreshed. Feel the beautiful breath moving right through your body and moving right out through your body. Get out of this state. You will come back to the room feeling energized, refreshed, and relaxed. Continue your breathing. Continue your breathing. And very gently, just open your eyes and stay still. Just open your eyes and look around and just feel all the blessings that we all have, all the joy that you actually own. And just stay still for another half second. Slowly come back to the room, and I'll request you to just type in one word. And I'd ask you to be honest, because don't expect anything. I just want you to type in the first word that comes to your mind. The first word that comes to your mind. Blessed, blessed. I'm so glad. Gratitude, high energy, beautiful words. Light, nice, beauty. Thank you so much. I think this is important. And for those of you who are not feeling good, believe me, you need to keep doing this. You'll start feeling good. So don't deny yourself what you feel. Okay. So this is something that we use. I'm a musician. I create music. I have engineers with me. So these are my own tracks, which people buy off. And this is a gift to you. If you want an affirmation, you need to write a thank you. You need to come to my page and say nice things to me. And then WhatsApp me. I will send you a nice affirmation track. You can plug and play and feel really, really good. Varun and Mehla, I request even Shareya and everybody, I think we all need to switch on our cameras. And I think we need to take a couple of beautiful screenshots with not just names, but everybody there. I'm so, so grateful to all of you. I'm so grateful to Vidya, Rashmi, Shoma, and of course, my dear Shareya. She has a very special place. I don't know why, but you know, somewhere I feel that probably our umbilical cords were connected at some level. I feel the same way with Shoma.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I feel connected to all of you and to the work that Vidya does. I think we're all connected.
Yeah. So if there's anything I can do, please stay connected. I'm on all social media. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I'd love for you to share a few nice words, what you thought. Was I able to make sense to you guys? I can share the PPT with you. I can share anything that you want because nothing belongs to me. Everything goes through me. That's all. Right? So if you want anything, just please write in. It's very easy. I've shared my email ID. It's write-to-ushy@gmail.com. WRITE. Okay, TOUSHY. I will just key it in the chat box. So if any of you want anything ever, please just write in and stay connected. I think I came here to make a few friends. And I think
thank you, Ushy, so much for generously spending your time with us this afternoon and sharing so many things with us, which will stick on for a while. You know, I'm a huge fan of yours, and every time you speak, I become speechless. So I'm at that mode again. There are lots of questions in the Q&A box and the chat box, and many people want to connect with you. So I'm glad.
write-to-ushy@gmail.com. I put it there. I will answer all your questions. All right. I'm very good with it. I'm a teacher. So I'm really good.
Yes, so I hope the audience will take advantage of that and write to you because you really have a lot to share. I've had a wonderful time listening to you and Shareya, and I hope everybody else has too. One thing that is, is sticking in my mind is don't sell the sun to buy a candle. I think towards the beginning of your presentation, you said that it's a Jewish proverb. And I think I'm going to carry that with me because half of us, or maybe, most of us are always in search of that sun and forget to appreciate the candle, right? So let us, end today's session with nothing but a heartfelt thanks to Ushy and to Shareya for conducting a very, very wonderful session. Ushy, we would love to have you back whenever you have the time. And Shareya,
I'm more than happy. There are many areas of the mind that we can discuss, and I'll be very, very happy. If all of you want me, I think you should write in and request. I will make time. This is the best time because we're all at home, and I'm sure that we can add value to each other's lives. After this whole thing is over, Shoma, we will definitely realize how little we need.
Yes, that's
true. How much we actually have.
That's true.
And how blessed we all are to be connected to each other.
Yep.
This is the time for feeling that.
Yes. So I think, I have a feeling there are going to be a lot of people who are going to reach out to you, Ushy. And as you said, you made a promise that you usually write back to everyone. So, audience, do reach out if you have questions unanswered. Thank you so much for joining. I have a couple of announcements to make before we end the session today. So one is that, you should be able to view this on YouTube. We will have this session up on YouTube. So you should be able to view it there if you search for it. The second thing is that we have another very good event coming up next week. It's on the 30th of June. And most of you would be interested in joining that, I assume. This is Shri M, who is a spiritual guide, a social reformist, and an educator who will be joining us for a fireside chat where he will talk through a lot of things that I think in this day and age has become very important to us. Especially given the light of the lockdown and the pandemic and all, the aftermath of all of that. So please do join. It's on Tuesday, June 30th at 7:30 p.m. We will be sending out reminders. And last but not the least, if you like what Vidya does, if you like the work that Vidya does and would like to help us in our COVID relief work, please do donate any amount of your choice anytime to Vidya. The link will be found in the chat box. So anybody interested, please do join us in our efforts. And if you would like to just engage with us in any other way, Vidya is always open to have more and more volunteers and well-wishers in our family. So thank you everyone so much for joining us. Thank you one more time, Dr. Ushy and Shareya, for your valuable time and inputs. There is all that you have said, which will go back with a lot of us, resonates with us, and we will hopefully practice a few things that Dr. Ushy has taught us today. So thank you once again. Namaste and Jai Hind. Did you see everybody?